to Nuran Kizilkan, who is the president of the Turkish humanitarian NGO, the Aid Convoy Association. She is also an emergency response specialist and joins us from here in Istanbul. Nuran, thank you so much for your time. Again, just to concentrate on those first few days after the earthquakes, how difficult were they for the victims, but also the first responders? You remember how cold it was? It was snowing, it was raining, road access was very difficult.
That difficulties continued over this month past since 6th of February, and aftershocks, tremors, big aftershocks as big as the first one, few of them, and also the Hatay earthquake 6.4 also damaged the areas, heavily damaged first time, but then collapsed or made more challenging to have the access to certain areas for people to need assistance, and making more complicated for the assistance belated to arrive to those in dire need.
We just heard from Mutlip about the container homes, that the government is hoping to move anyone who's currently living in a tent to move into a container home. The government says within 12 months, by the end of 12 months, everyone who has lost their home will have it rebuilt. What are the challenges between now and when people can return to their homes? I mean, people talk about having to find some sort of normality, but there's no shops, they've been destroyed. There are no schools, they've been destroyed. There are no offices, they've been destroyed. Should all of this be rebuilt temporarily, do you think?
This early recovery period will take longer than it should take. Unfortunately, the area is huge. Affected population number is massive, and efforts also has its own limits. I'm seeing the major part of the assistance is provided by the local authorities, local community, local NGOs, and I'm asking where is the international assistance that was provided, that was promised to come. I see that only less than 10% of the UN's appeal for assistance to survivors of earthquake in Turkiye, and people in great solidarity. Turkish government is allocating all their resources. Everybody is doing their best to respond this huge, massive, devastating earthquakes. But people will have some sort of exhaustion, frustration, saturation at the end. We need international assistance as well to speed up the things. It will take time. It is taking so much time. And as you mentioned earlier, the cold weather in Maraş, now the storm, all those temporary shelter solutions, which are not the best for the heat in Hatay or the cold in Kahramanmaras. And today the whole earthquake region was under heavy wind, storm, and all of the tents flew off. People don't have anymore, some people don't have anymore there's not ideal shelter solution tents. So container houses is also a temporary solution. Obviously, what they should have, the housing solution, inshallah, within a year, as our government promised. Also, it's difficult to reach out, but I hope they can reach out this ambitious goal. But definitely more assistance needed. People needs of everything. Still, the acute emergency is ongoing.
Yes, and there are also people who are refusing to go to organised shelters, whether they're container homes or whether they're tented cities. There are so many families, you hear the stories of them not wanting to leave and living outside their collapsed buildings. That's another challenge because they don't have the proper sanitation, they don't have the food and the water that other people in organised shelters have.
True. People don't want to leave their spots next to their building. Some are collapsed and still there because they don't want to lose their valuable belongings under the rubbles. Some people don't leave because of the emotional bonds. Some people just live around their damaged building and they're afraid of getting into. Some people don't leave because not all the buildings are assessed properly for the damage control. So various reasons for people not to leave. But then, as you stated, it's hard to bring service to these people because already access to certain buildings, certain roads are not accessible. You cannot reach out these people. Sanitation, water, electricity. Some part of the cities like Antakya, Hatay, there's no power because you can't give power to somewhere with the heavily damaged power system, and there's definitely no water system, and sanitation is difficult. Sewage system doesn't work. Many cities in this region having similar problems. Infrastructure are collapsed. So people shouldn't do that, but you cannot force them. You cannot move them forcibly. They don't want to leave the once their homes where once their homes were.
So many people have said it's all we have. Nuran, thank you so much indeed. Nuran Kizilkan from the Aid Convoy Association. Appreciate it.